All right, my first tip when it comes to painting the bathroom fast and efficiently is the proper prep. Now, some of that is having the proper tools, but also getting your walls prepped properly, and then the masking process. So I came in here and I got some cleaning done. I did the cleaning of the baseboards, so my masking is going to stick properly. There's nothing more frustrating than having your masking not sticking to your baseboards or where it's going to be going. So I came in here, just did some simple cleaning with some Simple Green and water, 50% Simple Green water solution, and then I began the masking process. Now, proper prep starts with the proper tools that aren't going to make this process really frustrating for you. One thing I'm doing in this bathroom, I'm using frog tape. I've got some Cove Base Cove Base baseboards down here, and they're rubber baseboards. I don't want anything bleeding through it, so proper prep is having the proper masking materials. I'm using frog tape green to mask so I won't get any bleeding on those baseboards. And once your proper prep is done, you can get done with your painting process. But prep is extremely important when it comes to making the painting process not frustrating. Getting paint on your floors, getting paint on things that you shouldn't get it on is going to make it really frustrating for you and make the painting process not enjoyable. So I got my cleaning done, I've got my masking done, I've got things covered with drop cloths. Make sure you have drop cloths, make sure you have a hand masker to do the proper masking so you're not going to get any drips of paint on anything. So first tip is do the proper prep. All right, here we go for tip number 2. And tip number 2 is going to involve some tools when it comes to painting a bathroom. Now, I'm painting this bathroom in here, and I'm going to show you a really handy tool that makes painting a bathroom a lot easier, faster, and more efficient, and that is a corner roller. And a corner roller is a device that has, it's a 9-inch roller, a microfiber roller that has the microfibers on the end of the roller. That way you can actually paint your corners without having to get on a ladder and do your cut-ins with a paintbrush. So this is a Corner Plus roller, the microfiber roller. It's absolutely amazing, essential tool when it comes to painting fast and efficiently. All right, I got another tool tip for you when it comes to painting bathrooms fast and efficient, and that is having some type of weenie roller that you can reach behind sinks, toilets, and other obstacles that will make it a lot faster and more efficient for painting. This right here is a weenie roller. This is a Whiz Flex weenie roller, and it actually flexes, so it makes it getting behind things like toilets and stuff that you may have to twist or bend your roller to get there. This is a Whiz Flex with a white woven roller on it. Absolutely essential tool. It's not essential to have a flexible one, but it is essential to have a weenie roller for getting behind, especially your toilets and the toilet tanks that are away from the wall where a 9-inch roller can't get behind them. All right, we're on to tip number 4, and tip number 4 is using a good quality paint. Now, I'm painting this bathroom with Regal Select, and this is a Benjamin Moore product. It's a premium product. And you may ask, why would I want to spend $50 per gallon? I think this gallon cost me $53. There's 2 things about paint that will really annoy me more than anything. And this is when it comes to bad quality paints. And one of them is they splatter really bad. A good high quality paint is less likely to splatter. This paint right here, I've been painting this bathroom first coat, no splatters, no drips at all off my brush or off my roller. And that's one of the things you pay for when it comes to a high quality paint. Another thing is high quality paints cover really well, and it's another thing is nothing more annoying than just putting multiple coats on a wall and it's still not covering and looking very good. This bathroom was a white. We've got our first coat done on it. We skim coated it, didn't even try to cover it, and it's a dark gray, and it's covered almost 100% already. And high quality paints have high solids, which make them cover really well. So two things when it comes to paints: high quality paints that are well worth the money because they're less likely to splatter and they cover very well. All right, tip number 5 is boxing your paints. So I've got a bathroom here. This is a small bathroom. Now, this is one of those rooms that it's almost close where I can actually get this thing done in 1 gallon, but you always want to buy more paint than it takes to do the job. There's one thing you're going to run into. If you run out of paint, if you're using inexpensive paints, it's very likely that you're going to see a color difference, or you'll see where you start and stop, where you ended and ran out of paint. Or if you run out of paint and you try to touch up in the middle of the wall with another gallon of paint, you will see that more than likely, unless you're buying a high-end paint which has tint consistency across multiple gallons of paint. But it's still, even if you're buying high-end paints, I bought 2 gallons of paint for this bathroom. I was probably about a gallon to maybe a gallon and a pint to do this bathroom, but I didn't want to risk it. So I bought 2 gallons, and you want to box your paints. That way you have paint or tint consistency from gallon to gallon. So I just take both gallons, I just put them into a 5-gallon bucket, and then I just use a stir stick, and I'm gonna stir that up really well. And now my paints are boxed and ready to go. I can pour one into my cut-in bucket, and I can pour one into my roller pan, and away I go. All right, tip number 6 is what I call skim coating your walls. Now I'm on my 2nd coat now, and in order to do my 2nd coat fast and efficiently over the top of my 1st coat, I need to do a 1st coat, what I call a skim coat. I want that coat to be nice and thin, and I want it to dry fast. That way I can 2-coat my walls same day, or actually even better within the same hour. So I'm not gonna put on my 1st coat really super heavy. I'm not gonna try to cover my walls in 1 coat. As a professional painter, I'm always putting 2 coats on the walls. It's very rare. Only if I was going the same color over the top of the same color would I try, and it was a light color, would I try to do it 1 coat. But this is gonna be 2 coats. So I'm just gonna, what we call skim coat it, get a nice thin coat on that's gonna dry fast. And that way I can go back and roll my 2nd coat of my walls within an hour. All right, tip number 7 is a tip when it comes to rolling up against your ceilings. Now my ceilings right here, we're not gonna be painting the ceilings. And if I'm not painting the ceilings and I don't have that paint, if I actually got this paint on that ceiling, that could be a big problem. So I have this trick that I do when it comes to painting ceilings. So I'm less likely, or not painting ceilings, but painting walls and not painting the ceilings. So I'm less likely to hit the ceiling. What I do is I'll get an extension pole. I don't want an extension pole too long, but I want one that I can barely reach my ceiling with, so I'm less likely to poke the ceiling with it. Now, if I extend my extension pole out too far, I'm using a 2 to 4 foot, it would be easy for me to hit the ceiling. So I'm gonna drop this extension pole down so I'm fully extended right here. So I'm right there when I'm getting right at the top. That way I'm less likely when I'm rolling my walls to hit my ceiling. I'm fully extended, getting it right where I want at that ceiling. A handy little trick when it comes to painting your walls and not getting anything on the ceiling. Now you're also going to want to keep the same distance from your wall each time that you roll as you step down the line. There you go. That's tip number 7. All right, tip number 8 is rolling your extension pole or your roller as you carry it to your surface so you don't make a mess. Once again, there's nothing more frustrating for your do-it-yourselfers than dripping paint where you're not supposed to drip paint on your floor, on your carpet, on your toilet, whatever, on your sink. So here's a handy little trick when it comes to carrying your roller to wherever you got to go to start painting. So my pan's behind me right here. I need to get it to this wall, and I need to get it there without dripping it. I want it to be really loaded full of paint. So as I'm traveling to and from my surface, I'm always subconsciously rotating the roller in my hand. As long as this thing is rotating, it's not going to drip paint. I can stand here and just continue to twist it and it won't rotate. So I'm going to load up my roller. As I bring it up, I'm going to rotate it and then begin rolling. And that simple little trick right there will make it so you will very rarely ever, if ever, drip paint on a surface it's not supposed to be on. All right, tip number 9 is when I actually do my cut-ins. I get a lot of questions, comments on my social media. When do you do your cut-ins? So now on a bathroom like this, I've got to 2-coat my walls. So I got to put a skim coat on first and then a second coat on. Now I've got frog tape around all the perimeter. So on my first coat, I don't want to get near my cut-ins on my first coat. So I'm going to stay about 1 inch away from my frog tape. And I'm going to stay about 1 inch away or 2 inches away from my ceiling. Once my first coat is done, that's when I go back and do my ceiling cut-ins. That will be the next step. I'm going to do my ceiling cut-ins. I don't want to try to tackle the whole bathroom at once. I'm going to do two walls, do the ceiling cut-ins, and then while that is still wet, it's very critical on a dark color like this to actually do your walls while your cut-ins are still wet, so they'll blend right in and you won't get any hailing. So tip number 9 is doing your ceiling cut-ins after your first coat is dry, and then do your second coat right over the top of those cut-ins. All right, tip number 10 is back rolling over your cut-ins. I'm painting smooth walls here and I'm doing my cut-ins, and I'm going to do my cut-ins and then I'm going to roll my walls right over the top of my cut-ins. Now, the reason why I back roll over my cut-in, I could actually just do the cut-in, brush it just like this, back brush it, get a nice smooth finish there. But then when I come back and roll my walls, the rolling is going to leave stippling. So I'm going to have stippling coming up and then brush strokes going across the opposite direction, and they won't match. So what I want to do is I want my paint to look similar and have a similar finish. So my roller, I'm using the same type of roller, a white woven roller, on back rolling my cut-ins. Now I'm going to come back while this is still sopping wet, and I'm going to roll right into this, and they'll blend together, and you're less likely going to get haloing or picture framing from the color of the paint, or even from the stippling versus the brushing, the difference in textures caused by the brushes versus the rollers. So always back roll your cut-ins. All right, there you have it. 10 tips or tricks that'll help you make your bathroom painting process go a lot faster, more efficient, and hopefully a lot less messy. If you want to hear what I think about this Regal Select premium paint from Benjamin Moore, stay tuned for that video where I give you my full review of that paint and whether I think you should be using it for your bathroom or your interior painting. If you got any questions or comments about the products, tools that I've used, just put it down in the comments section below. Down in the description, you'll find the tools and accessories in these videos. But if you got any tips or tricks, leave them down in the comments below. I would love to see them, and our audience watching this video would love to hear your tips and tricks also, because that's what this is all about. Painters helping painters. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell right along with that. That way you get notified every time I come out with a new video. It's free, simple, easy to do. And if you've enjoyed this video, like I always ask, please give me a thumbs up. Out.